part of this gathering today. I am still caught up along the way, so I'm not yet home, so I'm using my phone and I'll just open it briefly, and then I'll be switching off. But I just want to thank you so much. It's always a privilege to be given a platform among God's people to speak on different things, and most especially on parenting. So thank you very much for your invite. And yes, the topic is very clear we have today. Who parents the parent? A good question for us to ask ourselves, most especially in this era and in this time. I am supposed to be on call here with my husband, David, but he is not yet. I'm supposed to, at the moment, I'm supposed to pick him from a restaurant where he's waiting for me, and he has to wait until this meeting ends. So I send you greetings from my household, and most especially from my husband, Engineer David Ruhweza. He sends his greetings to you and from my children. So thank you so much. As I've been introduced, my name is Catherine Ruhweza. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Mama Tendo Foundation, a family-based organization that supports families right from preconception. And I would like to say that today's topic is very relevant to us as parents, to ask ourselves, who parents the parent? Very relevant because there have been dynamics, and I would say irreversible dynamics in the field of family, in the field of parenting. So much has changed. People don't grow up in their traditional areas. They grow up in different places. So these dynamics have sent us asking ourselves different questions. Who parents the parent? When the landscape, the ecosystem in parenting has changed, we have to ask ourselves these questions. And this is very, very important. And I would like to say that asking this question puts us in a place of humility. It's a humbling situation because it is accepting the fact that as parents, we have shortcomings. As parents, we get tired, we get worn out, we get weary. And so in such circumstances, who is going to parent the parent? Who is going to give strength and energy to the parent? So it's a place of humility where we find ourselves humbling ourselves, stripping ourselves of all form of pride, of all the I know it all, and acknowledging that actually we also need parenting. And it's also a place of growth as well, because when we realize our own weaknesses, when we realize our own shortcomings, it's a place to question ourselves and give ourselves those questions that make us look beyond us. And that is a place of growth. So it's a place of humility, it's a place of growth, and it's also a place of learning, which is part of growth. It's a place of learning, because as adults, as we know, that teaching adults is not an easy thing. Adults already know a number of things, but accepting that actually I may know a lot about chemistry, I may know a lot about business, but I am lacking knowledge in parenting, or I am lacking knowledge in being parented. Itself is a place of learning. So first and foremost, the question, who parents the parent, is a good question to ask ourselves, because it does not leave us the same. Yes. One of the things that is very, very humbling is that what we thought we knew, we realize that we do not know. What we thought, the advice we were giving to others before they became parents, we realize that we cannot apply it to ourselves. And it becomes difficult. I think, as the scriptures say, Christ showed us that you will tell me, doctor, heal yourself. You know, it's the same way that we tell ourselves as parents, you know. A parent, you know, you realize you cannot actually parent yourself, you know. You realize that you lack the skills, the tools, if I may even say tools, to parent yourself. So you are at a place where you thought you knew, but in actual sense, you do not know. You are at a place where you thought things were simple, but actually things are not as simple as you thought they were. And so we come to a place of accepting our own deficiencies, accepting our own shortcomings, and we long also to be parented. And one of the things that I want to say, the first parenting we receive as parents, and this is very scriptural, it is the parenting of God, the great Father. Let us not forget that we call him Father, the great Father of ages. And he himself, out of his kindness, he has given us the privilege of being parents, of participating in his great work of procreation, very great work of procreation, of us human beings creating other human beings. And that is a very phenomenal, and that is very, very exciting place to be, that he has given us that responsibility. But again, it magnifies him as the great Father of all. So even as we think as parents, who parents the parents, the first parent we have is the great Father of all. We call him the Ancient of Days. You know, we call him so many names that show, you know, his fatherhood, you know, his fatherhood. And he's the first parent we have to parent us. Who parents the parent? The first person who will parent the parent is God himself. The scripture tells us in Psalm 51 that even in my mother's womb, you teach me wisdom, even in my mother's womb. While I have not come out to see the sun, when I have not yet seen the light, you teach me wisdom right from the womb. I think that is phenomenal. And as parents, even when we feel that we have lost it all, or when we feel we are at crossroads, we feel so worn out, we must know that first and foremost, we have a Father who teaches wisdom right from the womb, right from inside the womb. As bones are being put together, as the bones are growing together, you instruct me. Psalm 51. You desire righteousness, even in the womb, you teach me your ways. I think this is the heart of the Father that parents the parent, because the greatest interest of God, the greatest interest of God is to see that we are doing our parenting work well. That is his great interest. We see it right in the scriptures when he gives instructions to Israel to teach the law to the children and their children's children, you know. So carry it on as long as you live, carry it on. So this very God, the Father, teaches us, he parents us. He parents us, giving us wisdom, giving us counsel, giving us determination, giving us the strength to go on when we feel worn out. He encourages us through his word. He encourages us through his word as parents, you know, and shows us what to do. And if we look at the story of Samson in the scriptures, we see that when the angel of God came and prophesied about the birth of Samson and what Samson was going to do, when the angel had left, the parents of Samson spoke to each other and said, how are we going to raise this child? And they said, let us pray and ask God to give us wisdom so that the angel comes again and guides us on how we are going to raise this child. I think that those are two parents that are being parented by God, or who are seeking God's parenting, who are asking God to parent them so that they can be able to parent their child. And I think it's the same way with us. Every child we have, as we start on the journey of parenting, is a special gift to us by God. And it's not only to us, actually. The children are also a special gift to the world as well, not to us, because when we see how Christ was born, he was born to his parents, but also he was a special gift to the world. And that is the same with our children. We can call them my child, but actually God has a bigger picture. Apart from them being your child, they are also a gift to the world. Just like Christ was a gift to the world, there is something that God wants them to do in their world. There is a goodness of God, a character of God, a being of God that they bring to the world. And because of that, God has interest. God has interest in parenting us as parents, to be able to parent those children well, so that they can be what he wants them to be in the world. So we have our Heavenly Father, the great Father, as the first parent. And this parent is both a mother and is both a father. Yes, because male and female, he made them both in his image. He has a heart of a father and he has a heart of a mother, so he can be able to parent us well as his children, as we do the great work of parenting the children he has given to us. So God is the first father, and he parents right from the womb. So apart from him parenting us, he also gives us other opportunities to be parented if we are willing to be parented. Because as I said, we are at a place of humility. And unless you have humility, you cannot be parented, because you're already an adult. If you come with the attitude of I know it all, you cannot be parented. God gives us a lot we can learn from in the community of faith. I am a strong believer in faith communities. Strong believer, because I feel in those communities there is so much. We can be parented, we can be guided. And so God did not plan that we parent our children in isolation. No. When we look at the community, when we look at the children of Israel, right from their journey from Egypt, we see a moving community. And this community reminds me actually of the African settings, because this is how the migrations were done. People moved in huge communities from one end of the continent to another. So we see this army of Israel leaving Egypt and moving as a community. We don't only see that, but actually we see God emphasizing the community issue in the laws that he gave to Moses on Mount Sinai. They are in those laws. He gives them a lot of festivals. He gives them a lot of family gatherings. He gives them a lot of celebrations. All those gatherings that God gives the children of Israel emphasize community living, emphasize accountability to one another, and they emphasize a movement of people together who are attached to the same values. And this is very important. If we are asking ourselves, who is going to parent the parent? Then we have to have strong faith communities we are belonging to, because it is these communities that help to parent us. We learn best practices from each other. We are able to admit failure and shortcomings. We are able to expose our own weaknesses without fear. But we know that in those communities, there are people who are able to be instruments, God's instruments of healing, God's instruments of instruction, God's instruments of wisdom in those Christian communities. And so we cannot, if we are going to be parented as parents, we cannot live in isolation. We have to give ourselves to a Christian community, a faith community. And in that community, we have to contribute positively. If we ourselves want to be parented, we should be parenting others in those Christian communities. We should be able to build up people And if we belong to a Christian community, we really need not to be so, we don't have to pretend to be perfect. We don't need to pretend to be perfect parents because we know it's not there. We can be able to share our shortcomings. We can be able to share our weaknesses. And we know that that is a place of patching up. It's a place where as parents, we are really parented, you know, and encouraged and strengthened to continue in that journey and to continue in the purpose that God has given to us, that God has instructed to us. So much happens, you know, that causes us pain as parents. A lot happens that causes us disappointments as parents. And in a place of Christian faith, we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We allow ourselves to be naked as parents, showing our shortcomings. And we know that we can be able to gain wisdom and be healed as parents, and we can be able to get direction and guidance. So that is very, very important, that we belong to a Christian community. And then also we ourselves as couples, those who are parenting parents, two-parent families, we are playing a role of parenting each other as couples, as husband and wife. We are parenting each other because we learn from each other. There are different things we are good at, you know. There are different things we are best at. We handle better than our spouses, or our spouses handle better. So we must, again, as I said from the beginning, that when someone asks this question, they are at a place of humility. And as couples, we should exercise that humility when we learn from each other. We must be willing to learn from each other. Don't ignore your spouse's good side in parenting. No, because when you see something good that your husband does or your wife does, that itself is a place of learning. You know, you are learning something that you did not know. Probably, maybe for you, you are used to shouting. You know, you speak while shouting to children, and your spouse is very calm when dealing with the children. In that place, when your spouse, that process of learning from your spouse how to speak more calmly, you are being parented, because that was a place of weakness for you. But because your spouse is good at that place, you are being parented. You are getting into a place of nurturing your own way of handling parenting situation. So we play a big role. We play a big role to each other, if that is the right preposition. We play a great role when we benchmark from our own spouses on the best way to handle parenting situation, and we are being parented. Because there is something good we can learn from each other. You know, there is a good thing with your spouse. that you can learn about the way they handle parenting. And then, of course, as we know, we also learn from the experiences we go through as parents, because God allows, parenting is a long journey. It's not a 1 year journey, but it's many years, 20 years. You're on this journey until someone is going to the university, probably they are 20. And then there are many years, you know. So all these journeys, this long journey generates a lot of experience, generates a lot of incidents that teach us different things. We have to ask ourselves, what are we learning from our experiences as parenting? What have we learned that works and does not work? It's like being on a research project, you know, a research project for 10 years, for 5 years, for 20 years, sincerely. In that research projects, you have learned some best practices, you know. You have been exposed to some best practices in handling other matters, and you have been also exposed to things that do not work. So ask yourself, what has experience taught me? How has experience parented me as a parent? And these lessons are to help others. That is why, for me, no matter how many seminars I have spoken to, or how many platforms, every time another parent is talking, I stop and listen. Why? Because they have been parented by their own unique experiences, and they are speaking from a place of knowledge and a place of experience. It's not a quack journey, it is a real journey they have walked in. So look into your own life since you became a parent, from the time you brought that baby from the hospital, and from the time that baby spent the first night at home. Surely you have chunked up a lot of experience. And we need to learn from this experience. May God help us extract wisdom from the journey we have walked as parents. And let this wisdom guide us even as we continue to be parents. What have we learned? What has God written on our hearts as we have moved in this journey of parenting, you know? And what can we give out to others? How can we use what we have been, how we've been parented? How can we give it as a gift to others who are on that journey in our community of faith? How can we give it to them as a way of parenting them as well? So that is how we hold each other's hands as we walk in the journey of parenting. And yes, so we learn from we learn from our successes, we learn from our failures as well, where we have failed. And I would like to say that even in places of failure, we know that God is always bringing something new, even out of the place of failure. So we should not, we have made mistakes as parents, so many, and sometimes we feel so incapable. But we must know that those failures, one, they are before the Father. Sorry, did I see, I didn't see the message properly. How many minutes do I have?
You have about 13. Actually, you have about 3. And we'll have opportunity for questions from the members on call.
Okay. Thank you very much. So from experience, from success, and from failure, it's very, very important that we know that. So, sorry, I've been disturbed, but so we can also, so when we want to be parented as parents, we must have that thirst, you know, we must pursue that thirst of being parented, you know, knowing one of that, knowing that we have this great responsibility and opportunity to parent others. So we ourselves must have that thirst to make sure that in places in our lives where we need to be parented, that we are actually parented, you know. And having mentors is another way. Mentors are not perfect, but we can see areas in which people have really succeeded and shined, and we partake of their wisdom, and we partake of their practices. And of course, as parents, we must also read a lot. There are new areas of knowledge always. There are new areas of knowledge. Recently, actually, I was telling my husband I was reading a book the other day, and this person, these were parents, of about our age, and they were saying one of the things that they regret maybe to have done when their children were teenagers. And one of the things they were saying is that when a child is very, very responsible, sometimes the tendency is to give that child a lot of independence. And so this couple was talking about their son, who was actually very good academically, very responsible. And so because he never made any mistake, as he went on in his teenage years, they kind of gave him a lot of independence to do a lot of things. And in a way, because they gave him a lot of the independence, this boy also went off, you know, and started having fun with his friends. And he didn't do anything bad, like become an alcoholic or take drugs. But they found that because they thought he could be able to manage his own situations, he started letting go of things that he should have put in a lot of effort. But because he was not being monitored and followed up, they did not notice it. So he pulled out a lot. He pulled out from a number of programs from church. He pulled out from a number of academic programs. But because they thought he's responsible enough, they didn't follow the boy up. So they were saying the boy finally graduated, but his grade was a C. Yet this boy, from the very beginning, they knew that he was an A student. So for me, it was really an eye-opening story that this couple was narrating, because that is what usually happens to when we have children who are responsible, impeccable. We think we can leave them, yet they still need to be parented. So I would say that I myself, I was parented by that testimony that couple gave. So what am I saying? Let us seek to know more about this responsibility that God has given to us. Let us seek to gain more knowledge. If parenting is important, I want to, for example, to challenge you. If in a year, how many parenting books do you read? And I'm not asking for many. Even if you read one or two, please read something on parenting. Please attend seminars on parenting, because when you attend those seminars, you are able to assess yourself and see your gaps and see where you yourself needs to be parenting. So in conclusion, I would say, let us be intentional as parents. We for sure need to be parented, and the opportunities are there, and the teachers are there. The biggest teacher being our Father through his scriptures. He parents us, he shapes our hearts, he shapes our attitudes, he shares his compassion with us. He's always there around to place. And then he's also given us different structures we can be able to benchmark from or to learn from to be better parents. So let us take this place of humility. Let us take this place of learning. Let us take this place so that we can be able to be parented. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Very, very amazing. And I couldn't add a thing to it. I see a mentor on call. Each one of us has been called to mentor because we have something to drop towards people out there. And each one of us has been formed in a different way. And every parent, however young they might be in parenting, there is something they have to put across for us to pick and shape our parenting ways. Two things stand out. Humility was one of your starting points, and intentionality closed us up. Let's celebrate Catherine Ruhweza. Catherine, before you go and before any of us signs out, there were so many questions that were coming through. They were hitting my inbox, and I was dying with the punches. And I'm going to share some of them that have been put across to you as others come through. The first one is to you, strictly to you. Actually, it's a cocktail. I hope you can take it in. The question is, what motivated you to start your parenting journey about Tendo? At that start, didn't some parents / people interpret it as pride? If so, how did you manage such negativity? Let me give it another go. What motivated you to start your parenting journey about Tendo? At that state, did some parents or people interpret it as pride? If so, how did you manage such negativity? To you, Catherine.
Okay. Thank you very much. And also thank you to those who are sending me thank you messages. I am seeing them. Yes, I appreciate. Yes, actually, I was, well, I even don't remember how everything came about, because now it's some years ago. Well, my son now is 22. Probably it's about 18 years ago, I could say. So I felt, actually, when I look at how I came to be involved in parenting, it was an impression that God put on my heart that was so consuming. And I just felt it's something that I remember I used to tell my husband as we came, as we would drive from home to work in the morning, I would talk about, doing something about parenting, and all that time, every day, that's what I would be talking about. That's the conversation I'll be telling him every morning. And I'm like, I really want to do this kind of thing for parents, where parents can come together and we talk about raising children. And right now, when I look back, I know it was a desire that was planted in my heart by God, the way God plants those desires in our hearts. As the scriptures say, gives us the desire to will and to will according to his will. And pride, no, actually, I think when you are in that place, all you want to see is an excitement about something taking off. You don't know how it's going to be or how it's going to turn out, but you are happy to have it start.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that response. Friends, to add a voice to it, it's, I think, a purpose that God plants in your life. And I believe that is exactly what happened to Mrs. Ruhweza. Catherine, there is another question. It's a twofold question. Very interesting. Can children parent their parents? I think that's what they meant. Because, okay, let me just read it the way it is. Can children parent their children? If yes, what is the best way of parenting them with empathy and understanding without clashing? And I want to pick probably the lens of the person asking this question to mean, like you're an elder brother and maybe the parents have gone to be with the Lord and they're asking, can I, as a firstborn, parent children? What is the best way of parenting them with empathy and understanding without clashing?
Yes, one of the things that I first said, actually, can children parent? What you first asked initially, that can children parents?
Parents, yes.
I would say that going to from what I said, that parenting is a place of humility. It's a place of learning. And also, apart from that, it's a relationship. What do we do with our relationships? Whether it's our friends from school, friends from church. Today, I spent some hours with a friend of mine who does not live in this country, but whenever she comes in, we take about 2 hours. We talk, we feed each other, we update each other. That's what, it's a relationship, right? So a parent and a child are in a relationship. And this relationship is not a one-sided one. And even if you are the parent of that child, you must acknowledge that this is another human being with all the full qualities of human being: intelligence, reasoning, analysis. And you are in a relationship with them. Even if you are in a superior relationship as a parent, still the place of humility makes you be ready to learn. Because if these people are fellow human beings like you, then there are things we can learn from them. There are things they can parent us about. The Baganda have a saying, negozadde akukubira engoma n'ozina. It's an interesting one. But what it shows is that, again, be humble, because there must be something. The positions are not changing. The child is not becoming the parent, but there are things we can learn from them as fellow human beings, and as people also who God can be able to speak through and speak to. And then,
Yes.
What you have said, can children, yes, of course. You see, the scriptures say to us that he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. When you have been put in a situation where you are assuming big shoes that are not, that probably you feel inferior to occupy, we have to look at the big Father, and that is God, to give us guidance, you know. And how do we look up to him to give us guidance? But one of them is our eagerness to learn. If you think where you found yourself in circumstances where you are parenting, then you must also be eager to learn from the different ways that I have said you can learn from in my talk. And in that way, you will become a better parent, because God gives you strength for your situation to walk the journey of parenting, even if you may not be a biological parent. Yes. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Catherine. One more last one. Maybe you will have a quick response around it.
Yes,
Actually,
please.
there are two things. When we are growing up, we've seen our parents pick out one particular child and they call him by the title, my father, my mother. And we've also seen it even in the grandchildren. When we name our children, the name of our great grandparents, our parents will come in quickly to say, oh, that's my grandmother, that's my mother, which justifies the fact that the children can be able to parent their parents. Now, Catherine, there is one more question, or I want to bring it to the context of now. We are pursuing livelihoods. Father is in South Africa looking for bread and butter. Mother is in Ethiopia. And you cannot tell your supervisor or the firm you're working for that, family comes first. The job is a priority. For a long period, you will not have touch, actually, a connection with the children. And some of us who may be young at parenting are going to have a certain void because we as parents have been looking for bread and butter. We've not created time for these children. And in our senile age, when we cannot fend for ourselves, it might be the same told about them to us. How do you support? What kind of advice would you give a parent who is between their juggling work and, behind at the back of their mind, there is a need for parenting, but they're not there? How do you support an absentee parent to parent their children, but also how do you support those actually, because you're learning from one another, how do you support the absentee parents to support their parents?
Yeah, one of the things that I want to say for any parents who are in that situation is that they have to fight for their right to parent their children. You have to fight for your parenting space. Just like we fight for the promotions at the workplace, we fight for our places that we know we deserve. That is the same way it is for parenting. All these other competing things rightfully there, but amidst them, amidst their importance, we must also fight for the right to have relationships with our children, for our right to discipline them and to guide them. And that you have to decide. Fighting means there are so many other competing things, but still we must have this one also as a priority. So every parent who has been taken far away by a job, by the need for survival for the family, we must know that apart from providing for the family physically, we must also make emotional connections. We must also build relationships. So you need to look into your life and see what sacrifices, what changes, what give and takes you can do to be able to fight for that space as well, so that it's you win it all in a way that you are providing for your family, but also the provision for your family is not cutting away the ability to relate with them as a father, as a mother. That's
Wow.
all I can say on that.
Wow, 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 wow. And that actually is a build-up on the whole aspect of intentionality. We need to fight for our families, create time amidst the busy schedules, connect emotionally with the children, so that at the time you're senile, they'll be able to parent you when you cannot be able to parent yourself. I want to invite Muchala Chairman. She has been in the Kamodi today to give a vote of thanks. I don't see a priest online, but before Muchala Chairman comes on board, I want to extend appreciation to the newbies on call. I see Asaf. There are many that have joined in today. We welcome you. And I pray that you can always keep this 1 hour from 7 up to 8 p.m. Sorry, we've short by 10 minutes. But we meet here and this is what happens. We are growing together. We're a community that is